Welcome to Detroit in Black and White. I'm Adolph Mongo. We're live from McShane's on Courttown, Michigan, and Trumbull. Joining me today, political consultant and shit starter, attorney Vanessa Moss.
Good morning. Good morning to Detroit Black and White viewers. Good morning, Allan. Good morning, Adolph.
We're good. Allan Lengel. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Deadline Detroit, Washington Post, Detroit News, and the Eagle American.
All righty.
Yeah, you used to freelance for the Royal Oak Tribune like me.
I did for a very brief time when I moved back to town. Well,
yes.
I moved back to town in 1982. I was traveling around the country, and until I did it for a very brief time. Maybe it was the beginning of 80.
Ben Burns was there.
The beginning
right?
of '83. Until I got a job at Monthly Detroit Magazine.
So
yeah, Ben Burns was there when I was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't think
the
you
Tribune.
Oh, I was just getting ready to ask, did you guys work there together?
No.
Okay.
I was just doing I was
I was
covering
doing
Warren.
freelance.
I was covering for them Warren City Council and stuff like that, which was at the time was
I was just-
crazy stuff going on in Warren, which
It's still there.
yeah, it's still going on.
Nothing's
But
changed.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just doing the township.
2023.
oh, really?
I was doing
How
the
was
township.
that?
And Ben Burns had went over there as editor, and we used to work at the same newspaper in Colorado Springs, Colorado Springs Sun. So anyway, let's start off with the outrage of the week. I'll start with you, Vanessa. What's your outrage of the week?
So, we've talked about Texas a lot. We talk about Governor Abbott. It's a couple of things. One is because of his policy of taking immigrants that come there to Texas and have to go to other states in the United States. This particular bus was headed to Chicago. It was a 3-year-old little girl, and she died. We live in a country that's supposed to be so humane. How inhumane that would happen to a 3-year-old little girl. And there's no telling how many other people have suffered, not just trying to get here to the United States, but after they get here to the United States, they have to go somewhere. Really, we need to do something about this. Immigrants coming over here, we really, really need some policies set. And hopefully the next administration, whoever that would be, will be able to address that.
Well, I
But
don't know why
that's
we
my
have to
outrage.
wait. I don't know. I mean, it's ridiculous why there aren't. I mean, first of all, we have so many jobs that are not being filled here. We could be giving out green cards and processing these people. Instead, we're doing everything we can to kill them and keep them away. And some should have the opportunity to come here. There needs to be policy now. I don't know why we have to wait for another administration.
Maybe strategically, I don't know, but maybe the President Biden that's in office, maybe he's waiting to see if he's going to get in office a second term and do whatever the heck he want to do. I don't know.
That's bullshit.
I don't know.
Listen, the immigration policy is bullshit. They're sending all these Haitians back who risk their lives to get out of that hell. That hell that they in because they have no central government, and the gangs are controlling the country.
Absolutely.
There's no question. Listen, there was an article, I think it was the Free Press, talking about all the cities around Detroit that got immigrants coming in there.
Right.
And I've always been an advocate of. We had all these. We had the Civil War in the Congo and all these places. We need to get some of these immigrants because they can come. They can come to the city, and we got. How much land do we have in Detroit?
We have
abandoned houses.
But this is the thing. I think that's a really, really good idea. But we need to take care of the people that are here. We talked about this last week. That are unhoused.
But I agree.
I mean, you talk about bringing people here, which is a great idea, but I'm a firm believer that you have to take care of home before you go start taking care of things in other places.
But also I think a good example when we look at the immigration coming here, we look at the Bangladeshis who are in Hamtramck, the border of Hamtramck and Detroit and Bangalatown, who have created a community there. They've opened up their own shops. They're working in the factories. They've created really sort of a safe space for their community and stuff like that. I mean, they're an attribute to the community. They're not a liability. And
I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and they bring some of those crazy ass views here too against women and shit. And they don't like women, they don't like gays. And then they cry. They just like the Puritans that came over here and said, "Oh, you persecuted me." So when they got here, they start persecuting other folks. Yeah. So that's the way the game is.
But
played.
That's what, when we look at it, really, just to clarify, to play devil's advocate here, some of the ones you're talking about are a very select group who decide to become politicians and try to, impose their thoughts, where the others they just want to go to work. They've got families, they're working factories, they've opened little shops and stuff like that. But there are people who have risen to power because they want their views to.
But that's the thing about this country. People want to come to this country because they see examples of what you just talked about. They can create a life for themselves. They can create,
why is
governing themselves. They can do that here in the United States.
Why is it that the families, the people who parents are first generation immigrants, they want to kick everybody out the country? Nikki Haley, Ted Cruz, all these folks, their parents came over here.
And my parents were immigrants. They came from my.
But are you trying to kick people out? Okay.
I want more people to come here. I want immigrants. I mean, I grew up with a lot of immigrants.
I want my brothers and sisters from Haiti and the Congo and all these other places that are displaced, from the Sudan that are displaced. You come on over.
We have empty. You know what? When you talk about, we're not saying to displace people, but we have so much empty land that remains. Literally, if you go down Grand River, there are empty lots there up and down for miles and miles. They've been for 50 years. I mean, we should be doing more for the people here.
Exactly. And there has to be, you talk about a fix here in Detroit, but there has to be policy from the federal government.
There has to be a fix.
There has to be a fix with the federal government.
You're all right. Okay. So, let's move on, because we can talk about this the whole show. Allan, your outrage of the week.
My outrage of the week is just seeing Jim Jordan, the congressman, the wacky congressman from Ohio, who's trying to intimidate Fannie Willis, the Fulton County prosecutor, who is even the governor of Georgia. They were trying to pressure him to fire her.
Right.
And he says, I see that she's done nothing wrong to justify that. And people like Jim Jordan are trying to intimidate. And she wrote back to Jim Jordan and said, look, if you don't want to get prosecuted in Georgia, don't commit crimes.
Right.
If you commit crimes here in Georgia, you will be prosecuted. And it's as simple as that. And Jim Jordan, who has a law license, I don't know if he's ever practiced law.
He never taken
the guy. The guy, it's outrageous. The guy he's such a rabid partisan. It's sickening. It's just bullshit.
There ain't no question. And while you're talking about Fannie Willis, she is my outrage of the week, because she's, what the grand jury in Georgia recommended, indictments against two former U.S. senators,
right,
and one current U.S. senator, Lindsey Graham, and others. At least Lindsey Graham should have been charged, because absolutely. That asshole is leading the way. He kissing Trump. Man, he should have been a proctologist, because that's how far up the ass of Trump that he is.
Right.
But no, and I'm only saying this because she has done a hell of a job. She got 19 people. Some of these folks are gonna flip somewhere down the line, because they can't afford.
They can't afford it,
and they're not
attorney fees.
There's no reason for them to be loyal to a guy who's never been loyal to them. And they aren't stand-up guys. It's not the old mafia, the omerta, where it's silence and go to prison, do your time.
And
these guys aren't gonna. Giuliani, he's not gonna do 5 years down in a Georgia prison.
Well,
but he will have to if he gets convicted.
Yeah. Well, you see that the guy that formerly occupied the White House. You see, he's had fundraisers for him, right?
Yeah.
Trying to
he's
raise
worried.
money, trying to raise money for his attorney
Right.
fees.
Because he doesn't get, because he knows Giuliani's going to flip, and he wants.
You think
That's
so?
why they had.
I don't know about that.
No. That's the only motivation. He doesn't.
Oh,
he could
that's his
care.
motivation. But
He
you
could-
said that he knows that
He's worried. He's worried he's going to flip. He knows Giuliani is a snake, and he's, they're all that way. And Trump, they're two peas in a pod. Because look, Trump is blaming in New York. He's blaming saying that his son Eric was running the business.
Right.
He's trying to push everything on Eric.
Well, Eric.
Poor Eric.
Well, anyway, that's our outrages of the week. Listen, we got Frank Wood. Can you come on up here, Frank? We had had Frank on here before. I call him a number one whistleblower of Wayne County Sheriff's
By the
Department.
way,
Is that
I
right?
do have a real quick picture.
Go ahead.
I have a picture of Eric.
This Eric Trump.
There's Eric Trump. So anyway,
Anyway, how you doing, Frank?
Oh, how you
Frank
doing,
Wood.
Mr. Mongo? It's good to see you, Miss Moss.
Hey.
Former sheriff deputy, Wayne County Sheriff Deputy.
I used
For
to
30
see him
years.
every day
I remember
almost.
opening the door for you to
I
see your
know.
clients in the jail. When
Well,
time run out, she was like, "Can I get 5 more minutes? Can I get 5 more minutes?"
Frank, were you in Kansas City with our great sheriff of Wayne County, Ray Washington?
No.
The jail is about to burn down, people dying,
Kansas
shortage
City?
of deputies. Yeah, he was there for the game.
Wow.
No, I wasn't there.
I wonder how he got there.
I was definitely here, keeping my ear to the rail on what's burning down downtown.
Tell us.
Yeah, tell us what's going on.
Well, just recently, Sheriff Ray Washington had a fundraiser going on. And it's kind of funny how we have rules governing the use of Wayne County equipment. And Sheriff Raphael Washington and his entire team is at his birthday / fundraiser. With his whole team shows up with departmental vehicles. Then it came to my attention that he's got people on his staff, namely the former union president of the DPOA, Mark Diaz, who lives in Oakland County, is driving a Wayne County Sheriff's vehicle to and from work
Really?
with a gas card, burning Wayne County gas.
Is he like a deputy?
He was hired
like,
to do recruiting
uh-huh.
for the sheriff's department, and he's not bringing in nobody that's making a dent in that staff shortage
Right.
in that department.
How short are they in staff?
They're about 200 deputies short, and deputies are leaving as we speak. I got informed
Because?
last week that, because of the retirement, that's still at a 1.25% multiplier. And then the working conditions, the officers are still working without partners in both of the jails downtown.
Wow.
Now, the jail division 2 is a maximum security facility. It's supposed to be 2 deputies at a minimum on each side. They're still working 1 and 1.
Let me ask you this. You said that there's a policy, and you in particular, you mentioned this guy Diaz using a vehicle. Is there a policy that
It's a Wayne County policy. It's
is it a
not-
Wayne County policy that you
Yeah.
have to live in Wayne County?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
But I was
So
made-
if it's
He
not
can't-
a
he
policy,
can't drive
because
the
there
car.
are other people I know that don't live in Wayne County but work for Wayne County. I'm not going to name those people, so I can't imagine that they are
Before
doing something that they should not be doing.
hold that, we're gonna take a break, come back, and I'm gonna let Frank answer that question. This is Detroit in Black and White. We'll be right back.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's Office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020, You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Welcome back, Frank. It's on you.
Oh,
Yeah, I asked you a question about whether or not it's against policy for them to use it. Did they have to live in Wayne County?
from what I'm aware, no one is supposed to take vehicles outside of Wayne
Okay.
County, period.
Okay.
Isn't he as a disgrace, Detroit County?
Well, he was brought up on charges out in Oakland County for domestic violence and drunk driving. And this was before he started working for the Wayne County Sheriff's Department. And then, like I said, he's supposed to be in charge of recruiting, but who is he bringing in? Bottom of the barrel individuals that end up being rotated right back out the door.
And why? Just
Ain't that a friends and family program?
Well, not in the sense that he's just scraping the bottom of the barrel and just trying to find people to throw in the jail.
I mean, is it hard? Is it possible to get good quality people in there at this point?
It is when you have a substantial retirement multiplier that matches the surrounding communities
Right.
in law
And
enforcement.
what's the comparison compared to other?
There is no law enforcement agency that has a 1.25% retirement multiplier.
What's the average? What's the average?
2.5 and 3.0%
Yeah.
multiplier.
So if you work for
every year of
Oakland County Sheriff, is that?
they're up around 2.75, just like Washington.
I see.
So Frank, in terms of recruitment, you say he's recruiting the bottom of the barrel. Isn't that's all they can get? People don't want to work. It appears that people don't want to work. What do you think that he could do different besides have another person in that spot? What do you think he could do differently?
You know,
What are some of the things that can be done?
something that he should be able to be able to sit down with the Wayne County executive. He should be able to sit down with the county executive and advocate for the deputies to get better working conditions, better pay.
But they didn't
better
include
return.
him in on this, the payment.
I was
I was
just
getting
gonna
ready to
ask
get
you
to
what
that.
happened. Go
Wayne
ahead.
County Deputy Sheriff's Association just settled their contract. And what made it so significant is that I did over 30 years with the Sheriff's Department. I can only remember one time that the contract was settled without going to arbitration. But this time around, both sides were able to sit down, the union and the county executive's office, and work out a contract for those deputies down there. And the sheriff, Raphael Washington, and his entire administration were excluded from the table. They were not even invited. And that's why the union and myself included and the retirees personally thank Warren Evans for coming back home and remembering who he was as the sheriff to take care of his office.
So why wasn't Washington invited to? He didn't.
He wanted the same type of contract that was in place when the former undersheriff Daniel Fannis was the undersheriff under then Sheriff Benny Napoleon, was be able to order deputies on their day off, to be able to suspend the officer without a hearing, and all those type of things, and basically just letting the internal affairs department run ramp shot over the union, ignoring every CBA agreement in their contract. But it didn't happen this time. And then the reason why it got settled so quickly is because the CEO, Warren Evans, and his assistant CEO, Assad Turkey, and Brian Reinhardt, were able to sit down. Those three individuals was able to make good with the deputies and listen to their concerns and settle that contract and make those deputies somewhat whole.
Good to hear. Let me ask you about the Wayne County Jail. I mean, we've known there have been a lot of problems, and tell me if this has changed. I know the federal system would not put their prisoners in the Wayne County Jail. Is that still the case, or
There are no
on?
federal prisoners in the jails anymore. I remember
That's because the conditions.
the conditions is why they were pulled out.
Don't y'all enter the new jail that's being built?
The new jail, I drive by there periodically just to see their progress. It looks good on the outside.
What about on the inside?
There's still a lot of stuff that needs to be done on the
About that
inside.
building, what I told you.
Go ahead.
Well, somebody told me the other day that the new complex, that a whole floor collapsed. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear about the collapse, but I did hear about there were certain areas in that jail that were built with drywall instead of brick. Now this is a jail. Now you build a jail out
with
of
drywall without that's
You know.
crazy. But yeah, I'm talking about
Wait
the
a
actual
minute, is this the
facility.
Shawshank Redemption?
Man,
Give me a little
With their
hammer.
fist to the wall, like Thor.
Oh wow.
But they had to go back and redo a lot of things. I'm sure they're approaching the time frame where they'll be able to turn Dan Gilbert and his team will be able to turn the keys over to Wayne County. And once those keys get turned over, everything will be on the county. So I'm sure the county wants to make sure
Make
that
sure it's
everything
right,
is
and
good.
I hope that they do.
Because
yeah.
you don't want to have civilians and deputies working in the area that they think is secure, and an inmate come through the wall like they're
So what-
coming
so
home.
But not just that, even with the building itself, in terms of the court, court hearings, you don't want people walking in there and, falling to the next floor or anything like that. So
Yeah.
hopefully they will address all of those issues before, they turn the keys over. That's crazy though.
Yeah, because as we know, Dan Gilbert and his team, they sponsored that whole facility.
Right.
But if they build in the jail like they build some of these apartment complexes, we got some problems.
There's gonna be a lot of people falling through the floor.
We got some.
Right.
We got some
And
problems.
escaping from the jail, right?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen to the old jail?
I don't know.
Is it gonna
But
sit up
I
there?
do know the police headquarters is across the street is owned by Rock Financial.
Right.
Right.
So who knows? Maybe they'll tear their building down. I remember right before I retired, there was an assessment done on that building, and they say whoever gets the contract to tear that building down, they're going to make a mint off all that metal that's in there.
Well, we'll see what happens. The future of the Wayne County Sheriff Department. Somebody's gonna start calling for federal oversight of this place.
I was waiting on that to happen, Mr. Mongo. I'm glad you mentioned that because all the things that's been going on with the recent inmate that was murdered in the jail, the pictures that got out of the inmate all bruised, bladdered, and bloody got out of that facility, and Raphael Washington and his team has not addressed that issue with the public. If something goes on with the Detroit Police Department, Police Chief James White is in front of the camera giving an update.
Right.
The Wayne County, if there's an issue with Wayne County, Mr. Assad Turkey and Warren Evans, at the minimum, he's the top of the food chain, but he would delegate his subordinates to stand in front of a camera and update the public. But Raphael Washington has been hiding. It would not address anything with that department. He's just laying low and trying to stay out, but he wants to resurface the closer we get to the sheriff election next year.
How do you see the difference in administrations between Benny Napoleon and Washington?
Being Napoleon was who he was. There's a lot of people in Wayne County and Detroit area that love Benny Napoleon. Even in his death, we still love Benny Napoleon. And even with the issues that the union had with Benny Napoleon, I'm talking about from the sheriff's side of the fence. We could give, when I say we, I mean the union, we could sit down with Sheriff Benny Napoleon and talk to him. And if it wasn't right, he would fix it.
Yeah.
There was 2 times where Raphael Washington and his undersheriff, Daniel Fannis, and his chief of jails, Robert Dunlap, attacked me just because I was supporting an opponent and running for sheriff, and he would illegally transfer me out of my union-bidded seniority position without a hearing or nothing, just transfer me out of the court divisions back to the jail. That happened under Benny once, and Benny listened to the union and said it wasn't right, and ordered me back. But that hasn't happened. And just like I said in my format, I'm sure you've listened to it, that when Benny Napoleon was sick in the hospital from COVID, I was still working at that time. His administration was circling like buzzards, waiting on Benny Napoleon to die so they could put their name in the hat for that appointment.
Right.
I was working at the Coleman Young Center. I used to see them sneak in and go up to the second floor and put their name on that list. for the appointment.
Right.
And then when they started coming down, all these, there was some good candidates. Not only Mr. Walter Epps, but it was a chief in Ann Arbor who put his name in the hat. And I heard they were very impressed with the man. And I would call them, hey, how you think you did? Well, I think they're leaning towards Washington. And we didn't figure that out until after the end, when we found out that he had close associations with the county prosecutor. He had a relationship with the county clerk. All he needed was 2 people out of 3. I think Chief Judge of the probate court was very aware of that. He abstained from voting because he knew that the fix was in.
Yeah. Well,
And Kim, when you said, when you talking about Kim Worthy, you had a
Yes.
relation. And what's your opinion of Kim Worthy?
Kim Worthy's got one hell of a job to do. I don't have a dog in the fight with the prosecutor, but when it came to voting for the Wayne County Sheriff, they should have at least vetted all those people who put in that job for
Right.
Wayne County Sheriff a little better than what they did. And I'm sure what they've been seeing
But Frank,
now is just totally unacceptable.
you know how the game is played. And when Robert Ficano was just a little Wayne County clerk, nobody heard of him. And John Hertel, the power broker from the Hotel family, he had it sold up. He was going to be the next sheriff because Bill Lucas left, got elected to county exec. Guess what? Robert Ficano was the sheriff. Somebody they never heard of.
Right.
So you know how that deal is played.
Yeah, I worked under Robert Ficano, but I
they play
wasn't
the
on
game.
the department when he came
They
in.
play the game. So Ray Washington came out of nowhere. He had Greater Grace and all these other folks
Didn't he
pushing
come from
behind the
Detroit Police
scenes.
Department? Did he come from Detroit Police
Yeah,
Department?
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Who?
Ray
Mr.
Washington.
Washington.
Yes, he came from
Yeah.
Detroit Police
Right.
Department. The current
Right.
Undersheriff Mike Jafer came from the Detroit Police Department. The current Deputy Chief of Jails, a 3-star, Robert Dunlap, came from Detroit. Mark Diaz, his Chief of Recruiting, came from Detroit. It's like it's
a song and dance.
It's like a home for DPD officers.
Well, you know,
And they coming over.
they
trying to-
retiring on the job
trying to change the sheriff's department
into
into a
DPD.
DPD, and it's not working very well. They forget they got that Wayne County Commission to deal with, and the county CEO.
Well, one last question: how do we recruit young folks to look at Wayne
So
County
you
Sheriff's
asking him
Department?
to do Diaz job?
Well,
Because
yeah,
that's what you asking him.
Well, I am. What if you had that job? How do you sell the department to recruits?
The way that you sell Detroit Sheriff's Department to people now is to have people who came up and worked in the Sheriff's Department, not people that came from another agency. And that's what's burning the Wayne County Deputy Sheriff's Union right now. The president of that union is Allan Cox, and the vice president is Robin Hornbuckle, who Raphael Washington, his team, think that they can totally disrespect her just because she's a woman. But she's a tough woman and she doesn't roll over. But that's how you sell a department. You can't have a Detroit police officer know how to work in a jail, work in the court, supervise the perimeter courts, the jails, dealing with inmates with mental illness, and protecting our circuit court judges, with the deputies have been doing a damn good job, including myself, for years.
In other words, you're saying you can't have an Air Force recruiter recruiting Marines.
That's correct.
Well, and one last question. Go ahead.
I forgot what it was. Go ahead.
Okay. So what's the future?
Oh no, I did it. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
What is the selling point to tell somebody, hey, come work in a jail with these hostile inmates and mentally ill? What's the selling point to get somebody to say, yeah, you want this job?
I don't know what the selling point is now, but when I started back in 1992, it was health benefits, retirement benefits,
Right.
working conditions, lunch at work. You come to work, you know you're going to get out of there without having to be ordered over to a second shift 2 or 3 times a week. We didn't have to deal with that.
Does that happen where there are people are staying over doing
People are
double
getting ordered
shifts?
as we speak every day of the week.
Wow.
Every day. I've never seen a police department where over 85% of the officers have to have FMLA just to get off work. And that's what's going on right now at the
Wow.
sheriff's department.
Okay, you had the last word. Thanks, Frank Wood. We're gonna have you back to continue.
Thank you,
Thanks so
Mr.
much.
Mongo, for this opportunity, Ms. Morrison, sir.
Thank you.
And I hope to have you on my show.
Okay,
One day,
let's
too.
take a break. We'll be right back.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020. You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Welcome back, and that was a great interview. With
Yeah,
Frank
absolutely.
Wood.
Very
Yeah.
illuminating.
Listen, he's
got
Ray
the
Washington
intel.
nightmare. He's Frank on Elm Street.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, we don't hear a lot about the
No, we
jail,
don't.
the jail conditions.
Right.
We've known they have not, like I say, the federal system will not put their prisoners in there because the standards are too low for their prisoners, and they're putting them elsewhere. Well, why is it okay for the Detroit prisoners to be in there if it's that bad? You know?
But it's not just about the jail. It's about the courthouse.
Right.
It's about the roads. It's everything. And it sounds like not only and whoever's giving Frank this information, clearly people are not very happy. But here's the problem. You can talk about how unhappy they are, the conditions and things like that. When you have a low voter turnout, and you look at the data and you say, hey, if I could just get these many people to vote, he'll be back in office. Especially if you don't have a viable opponent. If you don't have a viable opponent is someone that is supported, not just by mouth, but supported with the money. Because you can't run for office without having that financial.
Are you trying to tell us something?
No. I'm telling you what I'm telling you.
Are you trying to tell us
I'm
something?
telling you what I'm telling you.
Are you trying to tell us something?
No,
I can't hear you.
no.
Okay. Listen.
I'm saying what I'm saying, whoever it is.
But you know, it's also, I mean, you're asking people to do a very, very difficult job, and you have to make everything else good for them. Their pay, their work conditions, make sure they have support. And you know, why should you take a job like that you're going to be in potentially physical confrontations, and you're not being supported,
And you get
you're not
paid,
getting the
and
support.
you
This
get
is the
paid
thing, though.
pennies.
As a
Right.
You get
leader,
paid pennies.
as a leader, it's not supposed to be me against you. It's us with us.
We have, you know,
It's us with us
it's
for us.
It's a bad look for someone who's in charge of a jail that's broken to be partying in Kansas City. I'm sorry. You know, and everybody
you
like to
trying say
learn.
you
No,
don't deserve a vacation.
no. He on vacation with the job. He ain't doing. He on vacation. I'm gonna tell you. Talking about deserve a vacation. Listen, they got people dying. They short staffed. They playing politics. They bringing in deadbeats. And here we are. He's out there barbecuing.
But you know what? It seems to me, based upon what Frank said, Mr. Wood. Do we call you Mr. Wood? Wood. Okay. It seems to me that when you're talking about leadership, not only should it be us for us, with us, you should be the person that's involved. He talked about the new jail and putting up drywall. Was he aware of that? I'm just saying. He just talked about how they had talks with the Wayne County exec, the CEO, and how he wasn't at the table. That is insane. If you are that is absolutely crazy. And not only is it crazy, it's shameful.
Well, let's stay tuned. We're going to continue to talk about the conditions of Wayne County. Now we're going to talk about what's going on in our fire department. We got Chief of Community Relations, James Harris. Again,
Good morning.
Good morning, man.
Good
How are
morning,
you?
Mr. Harris. How you
Good morning.
doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm fine.
And
Nice
you
to
know,
meet
you know
I was,
how
I was hoping you were going to bring your dad, man.
I tried to drag him out, but
Yeah.
he's getting some Saturday morning rest.
Oh, really? You doing
Yes.
all right?
Yes, he's doing
All
great.
right. We all
good,
got it.
good, man.
Thank you.
So tell us what's happening in the fire department.
Okay, so October 8th through the 14th is National Fire Prevention Week. It's self-explanatory. See, a lot of people are under this misconception that it's like a science, like you gotta have a doctorate degree to prevent a fire. It's simple housekeeping. So when you're cooking, you got that meal going, you got that pasta, you're cooking, trying to cook like you at McShane's. If you got to leave out that house, you got to go to the gas station, you got to visit a loved one, turn the oven off. It's simple. It's very simple. It's still grilling season. You're outside grilling, having a good time. Keep that grill at least 10 feet away from your home, from your garage, from any shelter, from any overhang. It's just simple things like that.
How about smoke detectors? Can people call the department and get a free one, or do you guys still do that?
Absolutely.
And how do they go about doing that?
They can go online. They can email us at community relations with an S at detroitmi.gov, or they can call 313-596-2959. Each Detroiter gets 2 free smoke alarms. If you aren't able, we'll come install them. We prefer to come install them. When we install them, we're going to give you a fire safety escape plan. Tell you what to do in case of a fire.
And
Because
can
fire can happen.
people just go to any station? Do they have them at the station, or do you have them in a certain location?
We have them in a certain location. It's a lot of threes here. So it's 1301 3rd Street, Suite 330 on the 3rd floor. And that's Detroit, Michigan, 48226.
We need to,
I
we need to play that in the lottery.
Right.
How many threes you got?
Let me ask you, do you recommend that people have fire extinguishers in their home?
Yes and no. See, the thing is, I know you like Angela Bassett, and you probably do too. And what's the show? Rescue 911 and Chicago Fire.
I don't watch any of those shows.
You like
Thank
those?
goodness.
You like those shows?
No, I watch Chicago PD.
And why?
If I
Why?
watch Chicago Fire, I'm gonna be a critic. That's not real. That's not accurate.
Oh,
We
really?
wouldn't do it
That's why I
that
don't
way.
watch
Well,
the
you
judge
know
shows.
I
That's why
watch it,
That's
and
why
I
I
say,
don't watch court shows and judge shows. But
do they have all that sex in the firehouse?
Absolutely not.
I don't believe that.
Never.
I believe they're doing a lot of drinking and everything
Oh,
else.
no,
But anyway, go ahead.
Never. So back to what I was saying. No, not at the fire stations, but they have them on 3rd Street
On
at
3rd
Detroit Public Safety.
But you
Headquarters.
can call, and you guys will come to whoever's house.
Heck
and
yes, in a
install
heartbeat.
it.
Especially our
he
senior
was
citizens.
All for
answering my
free.
question
Free.
like a fire extinguisher. You
Okay.
said
Why you
yes
don't
and no.
want
So,
Because people think they can fight fire.
oh,
I'm not
okay.
a radio host. I'm gonna let them do their job. But everybody that gets a fire extinguisher, they got a fire can grow every minute, right?
Right.
So you got a little fire on this table because the candle fell over and it caught this piece of paper. But in a minute, this whole area is on fire.
Right.
So when you get that fire extinguisher, you get cocky, you get confident. Oh yeah, I saw this on Chicago Fire. I'm gonna put this fire out. No, you're not trained for that. You're trained to call 911 and get out. Get low and go.
And what's
That's
the
it.
number? I'm going to post the number up here. What's the number of people to call?
313-596-2959.
313-596-2959.
So have a fire extinguisher in your basement, in your kitchen. And if it's a small fire, you can attempt it if you're right there. But if you wake up and the average person wakes up out of a dead sleep, you kind of got to get your bearings together. You don't have time to go get that fire extinguisher and try to work it. But if you have it, I'll tell you how.
And that's the correct number, correct?
That's the correct number, 596-2959.
Okay.
So just think of Jared Goff. Everybody's still high on that victory the other day from the Lions. Jared Goff is quarterback, right?
I don't watch football, so I have no.
We're going to get you hooked to
No,
these
no, no.
Lions.
I used to watch it, but I haven't watched it since they start talking about the CTE and all that. I stopped watching football, so I have no
Do you
idea.
watch basketball?
Yes, I
They
do.
pass. So
Okay.
remember pass.
Okay.
P, you pull the pin out the fire
Okay.
extinguisher.
All right.
A, you aim the fire extinguisher at the fire. S, you're going to squeeze the trigger. And you're going to do it in a sweeping motion. Just remember pass.
Like this.
Pull the pin, aim the fire extinguisher, squeeze the trigger, and sweeping motion.
Do y'all go to schools anymore?
Absolutely. Every school, public, charter, Catholic, parochial, you name it.
How's the response time? Because about 3 years ago, and I don't know how I fell and I injured myself. It took 25 minutes for an ambulance to show up. I was laying on the ground, and I wonder, has the response, has response?
Yes, that's a great question.
In Ann Arbor,
Yeah.
so I'm laughing because I had a similar experience, but they were there like that.
Right, but yeah, go ahead.
That's a great question. So we're down by like near the national average, which is like 8 minutes. So 3 years ago, I can't comment on that, but I know now we boosted up our troops. We got a lot more medics, a lot more paramedics. Everybody on the Detroit Fire Department is a medical first responder now. So we're getting up to snuff with the nation. So 8-minute response time, we're right around there.
I also I'm curious. Where I live is about 0.8 miles to Detroit receiving, and about 1.3 miles or something to Henry Ford, where all my doctors are. And I asked them to take me to Henry Ford. They go, no, we can only take you to the closest one. So they did get me in the car, somebody's car, and they drove me to Henry Ford.
Why you didn't want to go to the DMC?
Well, all my doctors are over at, all my doctors are at Ford. And is that just general policy, the closest hospital?
Yeah, because you want to get that care ASAP. And a lot of people, we get it all the time. Hey, my doctors are in Providence. Well, hey, you're like 2 blocks away from Henry Ford, and they've got doctors. And let me target something else. The best burn center in the world is the Detroit Receiving.
Yeah. I mean, for emergency trauma, Detroit Receiving is.
Go receive.
Well, all seriousness, when you make a run, these EMS come. Do they still need a police escort in some places?
We do that. It's a serious emergency. Firefighter goes down. Lord forbid, an officer goes down. You'll do a police escort. But the fire truck, our fire engine shows up, and our ambulance shows up at every medical call.
And generally, firemen, particularly after 9/11, firemen and women were heroes in the community. Do you feel like you're heroes, or do you still get some hostility out there from people who just see you as authority?
We never get hostility.
Yeah.
Meaning you'd be surprised. It depends. You can walk in a place and we got our badges on and everything. And even we walk into schools and they're like, hey, you're a cop. Don't arrest me. And then they look closely like, oh, they're not a cop. They got an axe on their tie pin. Oh, they're firefighters. Hey, come on. And we'll never forget the 343 people we lost, America's biggest tragedy. And it's coming up Monday. So yes, we get a lot of kindness, a lot of thoughtfulness, and you'd be surprised. Just that smile, just that open the door. Hey, firefighter, come on in. It means a lot.
How understaffed is the Detroit Fire Department?
I would say take Detroit out of it and say how understaffed is every fire department in the country. All of us.
Are y'all?
All of us.
Are you recruiting now? Or
We are.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
And what do they need to have? What kind of credentials do they need to have to become a fireman?
Awesome
Or a
question.
fire person?
Firefighter, 18 years old, high school diploma or equivalent, great driver's license, no felonies. You got to be able to pass a drug test. You got to be able to pass our physical agility test. And the toughest part of the physical agility test, you have to get on the Stairmaster with the weighted vest and stay on there a little over 3 minutes. Can't touch the sides.
What's the pay?
The pay starts off around $40,000 roughly, but you can double or triple it after your first year easily.
With overtime?
Yes, with overtime.
What's the age limit?
18 to 60.
You mean 60-year-old can become a fireman?
59, you got to leave at 60.
And when you talk about drug testing, I know a lot of even federal agencies, ATF, I think FBI.
The marijuana.
Yeah, I'm going to say marijuana. Is that still
It is.
a no-no on
It
the
is.
drug
It should
test?
be.
It is, and I know it's nationally and it's legal in certain places, certain jobs. I was
Right.
reading something.
Drinking is legal, but you
Yeah, but
can't
do it on
drunk.
the job.
Right.
You can't have it in your system.
Yeah.
And no, we do test for that. And the reason being, we're using heavy equipment. We're driving big fire trucks, rescue squads, rescue engines, ambulances, and we're in emergency. So you don't want anything to have your timing off, have your vision off, and throw you off. So we still do test for that.
Okay, we're gonna take a break and come back and wrap it up with Chief James Harris
Thank
from Detroit Fire Department. We really thank you for coming.
Thank you all.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's Office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020. You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Well, welcome back to Detroit in Black and White.
I was going to say,
Go ahead.
no, I was going to say, did you notice how long you've been on the force? When did you join the fire department?
September 8th, 1997. So yesterday was my 26th
So
anniversary.
you were there prior to 9/11
Yes.
and after. Did you notice any difference in the way people treated you
Yes.
after 9/11?
Yes.
What did you see?
It was shocking.
Yeah.
And what I said, good kind of shock. Like, we always do shopping. We take the fire truck and we cook our own meals. For those of you who don't know, we don't come to McShane's. We don't go to McDonald's. We don't go to American Coney Island. We cook our own food. So we take the rig to the grocery store after 9/11. We're getting out and people are, oh, hey, how you doing? You need anything? God bless you. Stay safe out there. And prior to that, I'm not saying they were mean, but we just walked by.
They didn't
They didn't
understand the heroics that are required.
The magnitude of it. We're going in.
Let's talk about food.
Yes.
What kind of food gets cooked? Is there some gourmet meals that get cooked up there?
Name an ethnicity. Name it. Name it.
Really?
Name one.
Why you gonna be a fire?
Jewish? You got any Jewish food?
Yes.
I'll come and make some matzo
Yes.
ball soup for
Yes,
a
that's what
firehouse.
I mean.
Nobody's eating that.
Yes, they are. You'd be surprised. Every ethnicity under the sun
Y'all just
is a
hungry.
Detroit firefighter.
Yeah.
So you got home cooking. You can't cook. You better not bring a microwave lasagna.
Oh, really?
We will talk about you and chase you out of the fire
So
station.
you get all kind of lasagna.
Everything from
Yeah.
scratch.
Do you guys barbecue outside the city?
Everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We put in. We get our own grills. Everything.
Okay. As we wrap this up, Chief, 9/11 anniversary. What is planned here in Detroit?
We'll be on campus marches, 10 o'clock a.m. Monday morning. It'll be Detroit Fire, Detroit Police, Homeland Security, Wayne County Sheriff, FBI, everybody. We have a ceremony in tribute because you never forget. 2001, 9/11, that was just something. And you can think of everybody at this table can remember where they were the day that happened, the
Yeah.
moment that happened,
Yeah.
and how you felt. And we still feel that way. We'll never forget.
And if somebody wants to become a firefighter, how do they reach you?
313-596-2959, the same number. Go on our email address or hit us up on Instagram. We're at Detroit Fire Department, abbreviated Detroit Fire DEPT. We're on Facebook, City of Detroit Fire Department. Hit us up. We got a QR code. Click on, hit us up, and we'll walk you through the process. We'll train you on everything else.
So who's in charge of the department now?
Our illustrious leader is Commissioner Chuck Sims, great guy, a Detroit firefighter for over 30-some years, highly educated, brave, and a fair, just likable gentleman.
Okay.
Nice. Excellent.
Good. Chief James Harris, and thanks for stopping by Detroit in Black and White.
Hey, thanks for having us. Black and White, you all be safe, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Say hello
I
to
didn't
your
get a chance
dad.
to ask my question, but maybe will you come back next time?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go
I was
ahead.
gonna ask you, I don't know if they asked you, but do you get suited and booted like everybody else when there's a fire? Do you go out? Are you part of the team?
Absolutely. Once a firefighter, always a firefighter. My gear's in the trunk right now, ready to
Okay.
rock.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. That was it.
Excellent.
Okay, Chief Bolden. Chief James Harris of the Communications
Thank you.
Department, Community Relations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was good. Oh, man. So, Allan, question to you.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Trump wants me to your boy. You know I had to. You know I got.
We gotta
It's in
mention
your
Trump.
head.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, gotta mention it.
What about
He trying to get it to the federal.
the federal court? I
Yeah.
don't think I think they just turned down Mark Meadows
They did.
for federal
They
court.
did.
And
They did.
yeah, they do not want. They don't want it in the state of Georgia because they want, if Trump becomes president, he could pardon himself or figure out some way to do it. But if it's a state charge, he has no, and down in Georgia, the governor cannot even pardon somebody. They have a pardon commission,
Because
and you
they
have to
reflect
serve
right.
5 years of your time, which is the minimum, the mandatory minimum for the RICO statutes there. So they want to run from that Fulton County courthouse. They do not want it.
Okay, question to you, Vanessa.
Oh,
Carl
Lord.
Marlinga said he's gonna run again
Oh, really?
against
Okay.
John
James.
James.
Well,
That was one of my outrages, because that's outrageous.
well, I thought you had Sir Polis on the show a few weeks ago,
Right.
and he said that this guy is vulnerable.
Yeah, but there's
So
about 5 of them in the race now.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, you got all those people in the race. That to me, that's a sure indication that he'll get back in office.
The Democrats dropped the ball. They didn't spend anything for Carl Marlinga,
They
and
didn't want him.
John James won by that
They didn't
razor.
want him. They didn't want him because
No,
if
no,
they
no.
wanted him,
They
they would have supported him.
It's not that they didn't want him. They'll take a Democrat. They don't care who it is. They did. The Andy Levin told
Oh,
them
right.
that you can't win in Macomb County, which was total bullshit. Carl Malinga had been there forever. John James barely won, and he outspent Carl Malinga 5-1.
Andy Levin fucked that up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
he
Andy Levin
screwed
could have
it up.
run in there and won.
Yeah.
Instead,
Yeah.
he went against Haley Stevens and
Yeah.
got killed.
Well, you know, it is what
So
it
are
is.
you pissed that he said that he's going to run?
Yeah,
Other
because
people that run.
he's a bigoted, he's a racist, he's full of
Man,
shit.
you called somebody that last week.
Oh, who Kevin Adair?
I don't know who the person
Yeah,
is. I'm
the
not gonna say
feds-
who it is.
we
but
got some
you
good
called
news.
somebody that last week.
Right,
Now you call
week
this
before.
guy that. But if Carl Malinga had won, would you be saying that about him?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
believe you.
Yes, I would.
I don't believe
Yes,
you.
I have.
I don't believe you.
You
Okay,
know
go
what?
ahead.
Don't you run for office, because I'm gonna be your worst nightmare.
That's okay. You are my worst nightmare.
Well, anyway, as we come to an end of the show, Allan, we're gonna get your final
My
thoughts.
final thoughts. I wanted to say early on, Elon Musk, who's running Twitter, as we all know,
It's
or
not
X,
right.
X as it's called now, is threatening to sue the Anti-Defamation League because they have been critical of all the anti-Semitic, hateful things on that site, and he's saying they're hurting his business. Well, first of all, he's another billionaire, wealthy person trying to throw around his weight. The ADL is not intimidated. There's nothing suable. There's nothing live.
So, do what you gotta do, bro. See where you go.
Yeah,
There
do
you
what you
go.
got to
So
do.
what?
Believe me, the ADL has enough good Jewish lawyers who are going to take care of them, whether it's pro bono or whether they pay for it or not. I mean, he's got no case, and he's letting more and more racist, anti-Semitic, hateful things on there.
Are you surprised at what Elon Musk?
No, not at all.
His attitude. You know where he's from and how he was raised.
Yeah.
He was raised under apartheid. I'm not surprised. And he can say whatever he want to say. This is where he come from.
Right.
And and he encouraged that kind of hate
right,
that they throw up on there. And then he's pissed because he's losing advertising. You can't have
Down
it both
60%.
ways.
Right,
He doesn't realize
exactly.
people
That's what
can't have it
I'm saying.
both
You
ways.
can't have it both ways. If you want to
You want to be a
have all
hate
that on
monger?
your
Yeah.
you're gonna pay for it one way or the other. And if you want to go to court, then okay, fine, do what you gotta do.
He's got nothing. I mean, cases like that get dismissed in summary judgment. They don't even go to trial. There's nothing, absolutely nothing there to hook onto as a case, as a lawsuit.
Well, somebody got to have something to attack, and just like when Ron DeSantis was having a press conference,
Oh,
and the gentleman stood up and said, you created this atmosphere
Right.
down here. Now people are coming hunting
Right.
for folks like me.
right.
And instead of him saying thank you for your question and move on, he wanted to get into
You
an
talking about
argument
somebody
with
that has imploded. I mean,
That
oh
guy,
my gosh.
he's
When he first got on the scene and said that he was going to run for president of the United States, DeSantis, he's the star. He's going to go, he's writing a book. He's doing this. Now it's bad news, bad news, bad news.
He's got the part of the Hillary thing that he's not very likable.
Right.
He's not a likable guy. He's not very engaging. I mean, even the Republican congressman who was there for one term, I think sat next to him and said he was not a nice person.
he didn't want to talk to folks. Your final thought.
Oh, final thoughts. I always try to end on a good note. First of all, we want to thank McShane's for allowing us to air the show again.
Michigan and
We're
Trumbull.
Michigan and Trumbull, the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. Going to encourage everyone to come down, have breakfast. If you're watching the show, like,
Share,
and subscribe. Like, share, and just subscribe. Detroit in black and white. Detroit in black and white.
And we also have our website.
What is the website?
DetroitInBlackAndWhite.com.
Okay.
You can see every show.
DetroitInBlackAndWhite.com.
Every show is on there,
And,
in both podcast and video.
okay. Thank you.
Well, anyway.
And enjoy Dally in the Alley.
Dally in the Alley.
Okay, and I'll see you guys
What
next
is
week.
Dally and Alice?
It's
We're
a
gonna be dallying in the alley.
Dally it's an annual festival in the alleys around in the Cass corridor. They've got bands, they've got booths. It's a very cool thing.
It is.
And
You said in the alleys?
it's
Yeah,
in
they
the
ran the road
alleys
and
on the street.
Yeah.
Ain't
Yeah,
no rodents
yeah.
in there?
Yeah.
Rodent free for
Okay.
this. Yeah, but it's just for Saturday. It's from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay, and my final thought is the mayor's race in the city of Detroit is getting interesting. Everybody
Who do
wants
you-
to
who
get
do you
into the
like?
act.
Who do you like?
got Warren Evans want to run. You got
Who you
Dennis
say wanna
Arthur
run?
Jr. want to run. You got Mary Sheffield. You got I know Coleman is looking at it, and he wants to run. Everybody. But I tell you who gonna get in that race. He's gonna get in the race.
Gilchrist?
No, Shree.
Oh,
Shree is gonna get in the race.
You think so?
Shree, he's gonna get in the race. Listen, you heard it here. In Detroit in black and white. He can't help it. He's gonna get in the race.
Well,
Why not?
I don't know.
His eyes on the prize.
he's everywhere, man. He was in the Labor Day parade. He was at
He can't even say the name Gratiot right.
Yeah.
I want to thank Frank Wood, retired Wayne County deputy, Chief James Harris from Detroit Police Department. Oh, fire department.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to transfer you over to the police. And Jim, Teresa, thank you. And we'll be back next week. Detroit Black and White, 10 a.m.
All right.